You know, it's pretty interesting just how much of a history the Shantae series has. To be honest, it feels more like a modern series ever since the Kickstarter campaign launched for Half Genie Hero a few years back. But surprisingly enough, it's been going since the days of the Game Boy Color, and I'm glad it's getting new entries. Combining a lot of previous elements into one game, here is my review of Shantae and the Seven Sirens for the Nintendo Switch. Now when it comes to story, the timeline placement of Seven Sirens isn't exactly shown to you, but I would assume that it takes place sometime after the events of Half Genie Hero. The story itself is about Shantae and all of her friends going to a new island on a vacation, where she ends up meeting some more half genies like herself and takes part in a festival. But in the middle of the festival, all of the half genies disappear outside of Shantae herself, and she goes underground to discover the secrets of the island and rescue them. Now overall, I do like the story of Shantae 5, but there is something that was a little disappointing. There's tons of comedy, parodies, and a lot of really just lighthearted fun, but it opens up the door for some extra lore behind the genies and Shantae herself, and that particular plot thread isn't really delivered upon and left open by the end of the game. When it comes to gameplay, Shantae 5 is a Metroidvania. Across the entire adventure, you've got a huge 2D map to explore where you'll platform around and fight enemies in real-time combat. With how the game formula is set up, I would call Shantae 5 basically an amalgamation or fusion of the Metroidvania style of Shantae's 1 through 3, along with some of the better upgrade systems from Half Genie Hero. As such, you don't have a base of operation and stages anymore. You've got a hub town in the middle of the map and a lot of other towns and areas that are all interconnected. This offers a more traditional Metroidvania experience where you're constantly gaining new abilities and powers to open up new areas, both for the main story and for finding hidden collectibles. But as I said, it's also got some of the newer upgrade systems from Half Genie Hero, like having character quest items throughout the different towns, along with the shop and blacksmith where you can bring collectibles in to upgrade your maximum health, and spend gems on permanent upgrades and new spells. This definitely gives the game a much bigger and more open feel than the last game did, as it has a very big emphasis on exploration and finding areas that you couldn't get into before. But do note that the map can be a little confusing at times. All of those hidden areas are not marked on the map, so whenever you beat the next boss and get your new ability, you kinda have to just go off of memory on where those locations were or explore the entire map until you find them. The rest of the game and how you actually fight enemies is pretty similar to the previous games outside of your new abilities. You've still got the hair whipping you can do for normal attacks, as well as different magical abilities that you can buy and upgrade from the shop. Though I will admit that the new abilities and the overall game difficulty itself seems a lot more balanced towards casual players than hardcore. Fighting bosses definitely has a lot of challenge to it, especially towards the end of the game, but I noticed a lot of returning enemies attack slower and different, making it easier to take them out. This is further enhanced by the sheer amount of heart drops you get when you down enemies in pots, and the fact that the game's got a new card-based system where you can equip passive abilities to make your current ones even better. Admittedly, this formula does come together to give you quite a bit of content, even more than the last game. Shantae and the Seven Sirens should take you roughly 8 to 10 hours on your first run, depending on how much you want to explore and whether or not you want to get that 100% completion. Now let's dive into presentation, which, just like Half Genie Hero, is very beautiful. All of the visuals are nice and smooth, both in docked and handheld mode, and the game just overall looks very pretty, from the character models and animations to everything that's always going on in the background. I don't have any issues with performance, so now let's go right into battery life. On the original model, Shantae and the Seven Sirens has a battery range of 4 hours and 9 minutes up to 5 hours and 52 minutes. On the Nintendo Switch Lite, it has a range of 4 hours and 36 minutes up to 7 hours and 12 minutes. And on the V2 or Redbox 2019 model, it has a range of 6 hours and 22 minutes up to 7 hours and 30 minutes. In conclusion, Shantae 5 is like taking the good elements from Half Genie Hero and combining them with the good elements of the previous games. Now on the downside, the map system can get a little bit confusing with trying to remember where everything is, and the story opens up for some pretty interesting backstory that isn't really paid off. But if you're looking for a fun little Metroidvania that is the personification of cute and fun, then look no further. Reviews to Go rates Shantae and the Seven Sirens for the Nintendo Switch a 9 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.